We are live on another Friday. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Debbie Echo, and I'm the founder of your Discovery Coach. Thank you so much for another Friday. It's raining here, so it's a big blah, but yeah, we're good. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll just go right on. Today's going to be short and sweet, just because today's storytelling. Let's talk about this, the myth of too late. But before we go on, I want us to, just do a bit of recap from last week. We talked about this is our Living Beyond Rediscovery series. And in week one, we talked about the body and the nervous system, how the nervous system is a soil to everything you do. If you're not at rest, if you're not at ease, you can actually curate, you can't curate, you can't create. So having a nervous system that is reset, that is calm, that is put together would help you with your journey. So we talked about that. A lot of things came out, it was so profound. We found out that some of us just were always on the edge, hyper vigilant, or we freeze, or we are afraid, or we are constantly fighting, fighting voices in your head, fighting decisions that you're trying to make. We did all that. We saw how having a nervous system that is calm can help us, to live the life that we desire to live, and how not, resetting our nervous systems also keep us in that cycle of being stuck, keeps us in that cycle of being small, keeps us in that cycle of being, just at the background of your own life. These are the things that we talked about. And on the second week, we worked with the heart. We talked about the weight of guilt, how we carry guilt around, guilt of, oh, am I resting too much, am I doing enough for the children, am I selfish to try and live my own life, am I selfish to, or some women, I've heard of some women who would not want to go on holiday just because the kids are home, and all those type of guilt that come with being a mom, being a wife, being a carer. Everybody needs me, and I get it, everybody needs you, but you need you too. And we talked about that video where that was trending, and girls were saying that they wish they were never born so that their moms would live a full life. And we said, look, we don't want that to happen. We don't want that to be our story. We don't want our children to feel the regret of them being born. Like, them being born was just a way of seeing us suffer. And we said we didn't want that narrative for ourselves. So we're moving on to today. Interestingly, when I woke up this morning, my brother had sent me a story, and he didn't know anything about my topic for today. So it was so interesting that he sent me the story, and it was about a 51-year-old woman who, for decades, her husband, was a pilot, and he was just going to retire. But when he was retiring, she was 51. When he was retiring, she was finding herself, in the sense that she had been a stay-at-home mom. She had taken care of the kids because her husband was never on ground. So she had to be on ground. She couldn't even travel with him. So she was saying in her story, she was saying that he would send pictures of himself in Bangkok, Dubai, everywhere, because he's a pilot. Yes, obviously, as a pilot, he travels, vastly. So she said she wasn't bitter, but she just realized that she couldn't just keep living, So he was retiring, thinking, oh, I'm coming back to my wife, oh, let's, live our retirement days together. And she was like, at 51, but no, that she wants to build her own dream. And for her, what made her happy was owning a travel agency, organizing retreats where women travel. So women, solo travelers who want to travel but don't feel comfortable traveling alone per se. So she was organizing travel communities. So they don't necessarily know each other, but they travel together, as a herd, and feel safe together in that community. So she started organizing retreats. So she said she talked to her husband, and her husband was like, his own dream about retirement was just to come home, and he wasn't even interested in flying again. He just wanted to stay at home because he was tired of being in other hotels, tired of living off, hotel food here, there, and there. He just wanted to come home and be with his wife. Obviously, the children had grown. Almost all the children had left the nest at the time, and the children were grown. They were no longer babies and all that and all that and all that. But that story was very interesting for me. Why? She didn't say she was 51. So therefore, because of her husband's dream is to sit down at home and, just retire and be in his own, comfort of his own bed, she too, she'll sit down at home with him. She said what happened in her 26 years of marriage that really helped her was that she learned how to effectively communicate with her husband. So she said, look, your retirement plan and my retirement plan are not gelling. I can't sit down at home just like that. I want to build my dreams. I want to live the life of my dreams. I'm 51. I know my kids are grown. So we're not going to have the type of retirement that we plan to have. So you tell me, what are your own dreams? So he said, oh, he likes to, his hobby was rebuilding cars and doing things like that. So he said, okay, he wants to rebuild cars. So they said, okay, let's think about retirement in this way. You do what you like, I do what I like. It's not like we're separated, but you're not going to stifle me just because you are tired. Hi, Peace, thank you for joining me. You're not going to stifle me just because you are retired and you want to live a life of I just want to be in the house. I have given my life for you guys. 26 years being married to you. Come on, I have given my life, for all of you. Right now, I want to live my dream. So what is the essence of my story? It was beautiful for me just because my brother doesn't know what I'm doing with YDC, Your Discovery Coach. He didn't know, he doesn't know my topic for today, but he just sent it to me randomly. 51, she found herself. She wanted to live a life that she wanted to travel. So all that time her husband was traveling, she wasn't able to travel to him, lugging around 4 children, flying with your husband for work. It didn't work for her at all. It didn't work for her. So now all the children are gone. You want to retire. Myself, I want travel. So she said, okay, let's have a plan. Having a plan also is very important. So having a husband that you can speak to, having a partner you can speak to, you can tell. So don't see one thing I picked from her story was, don't be afraid to say your story, to say your design, to say what you want. Don't be afraid. We can work it out. Do you understand? We can work out the modalities. One person doesn't have to die at the detriment of another. Because if that woman at 51 didn't wake up and say she wants to live the life of her dreams, and she had a husband who was so stifling, she would be bitter. But you see, that's why a lot of women would rather do a mugwort than stay in the house with their husbands. You get me, right? Because they're not really happy. They'd rather go from, Germany to Japan to do a mugwort. But she had someone who she could sit with. So even that whole thing about cultivating, no, don't stifle your dream. Don't ever say it doesn't matter. Don't ever say that what you really, really, really want doesn't matter. So she said initially she would love to have told us that everything went well. As per her husband was like, oh, I'm so over the moon with you chasing your dreams now that I am retiring. She said, no, it didn't go that way. That he was very unhappy because he felt, oh, I've missed my wife this 26 years. I just want to come home to her. And then she's finding herself. But with communication, she was able to pass across her message and they were able to find something that works. Now, if she stopped at, oh, he feels bad, she gives into his feelings, then she will just die in silence. So this thing I'm saying, you might think, oh no, it's not easy to just talk about my feelings. A lot of us don't talk about our feelings. We don't talk about our desires. We don't talk about our dreams. We just feel like, the partner would laugh or someone will laugh. We don't express what we want, so we don't get what we want. We don't express our desires. We keep our desires at the back. So yes, I've had, like when I was in Unilag, for instance, I had, maybe they were not 71, but when you're young, every old person looks like 70 something. Maybe they were in their 50s, but because me, I was still in my 20s, I felt like they were in their 50s. But I had a lot of older people. They used to do evening school. I had a lot of older people in my class. They used to do no, it's not called evening school. What was it called? Evening lectures. Yeah. So, but we see them because obviously I was always reading. So we see them in the evening lectures. We're not in the same class with them. A lot of them were in evening lectures. I had a friend, mom was in the University of Lagos with me. When I go to her house, she say, I'm not your mate. So it's not because I'm in University of Lagos with you. But that's my point, that There's no deadline for your dream. That's my message. In fact, I can close this meeting today. There's no deadline for your dream. None. My older sister, adult education. Thank you, Kendi. My older sister, who is a medical doctor, she had a friend in her class who was much older than them. And I didn't even know he was much older than them because he has a young looking face. But his children were finishing were almost adults. And I was like, wow, he actually really, really encouraged me, because it just tells you that there is no deadline. You see, whatever you want to be, you see that. And it was medicine. It wasn't like he came back to school to study. She's a doctor, obviously, so it's medicine, 7 years. And if you know Nigeria, 7 years is not 7 years. So he's a medical doctor now. Can he remember all the adult education he was educating with young people in his class? No. Life is a leveler. That's the thing. When we finish school, you see, it feels like, oh, people are getting ahead of you. But the honest truth is that life is a leveler. There's some people that I talk to now, if they tell me their age, not like I'm in shock, because I'm not in shock really, but I'm like, oh, wow. my daughter's friends, their parents are in their 20s. I'm in my 40s. It doesn't matter. Life is a leveler. It's an absolute leveler. So the thing about it is that your dream does not have a deadline. If you're looking at yourself right now, if you're listening to me and you're looking at yourself and you're telling yourself it's too late, it's a myth. I watch a lot of videos. Well, not a lot, because I've seen a few videos of women who started trying to get. I saw this one about a 73-year-old woman who said, oh, I'm done with this flabbiness. She was 73-year-old when she started working out. She was 70, sorry, when she started working out. She was 73 when BBC found her. Was it BBC or one of those, you know how they used to bring people on spotlights? I can't remember which of them was it, but she was 73 when she was showing us abs and flat tummy. And I was like, oh, wow. Even your fitness journey, there's no deadline to it. There is no, it's too late for me to start. I'm horrible. I'm too fat. There is nothing like that. If a 70-year-old woman can do it, and in 3 years, she lost all the flabbiness, she gained muscle, your dreams have no deadline. No deadline. I'm just here to talk to you from my heart. These are stories, and they are real stories. They're stories of women. You can go and Google it. You can verify it. Life is a leveler. Yes, your life is a leveler. The fact that I am here where I am, the gym grandma, thank you. The fact that I am where I am right now doesn't mean that I cannot get speed and go. So it's a myth. It's a myth. I don't want you to ever sit down and look at yourself in the mirror and say, see, I have a dream right now, and I'm just going to share it out of vulnerability. I don't know how to dance. I really don't. If I dance where you know that my bad. But I don't believe that it's impossible for me to pursue my dream of being a dancer. I'm not doing it professionally, don't get me wrong, but being a dancer. So I'm searching for, somehow that I can learn, because I believe that everything can be learned at any time. My daughter was trying to laugh at me one day when I asked her for the meaning of a word. She's 7 and she was like, how can I be telling, it was before my birthday was on Monday. So she was like, this was her statement. How can I be telling a 44-year-old woman what it means? And it means I'm smart. I said, hang on, young lady. You will never brag about teaching someone. 2, you will never be too old to learn, and you are not too small for me to learn from. I schooled her. She was like, Mom, what did I do? I said, I will school you on this thing, because you will not go around carrying a chip on your shoulder just because your mom didn't know something you knew. I said, you would learn from me, and you will keep learning. That learning never ends. Some of us went to do our masters, we're the oldest in our class, and it doesn't matter. Where are they now? Life is a leveler. So there's a myth that is going in your head that tells you it's too late. I can't do this. I can't go back to school. What is that one thing that you have been dreaming of? It is not too late. You tell yourself things like, it's too late. We're getting too old. It's not. I want you to rephrase your thinking. There's nothing that you have dreamed of that is too late for you to achieve. There's absolutely nothing. You see, what makes you not to pursue those dreams are the limiting beliefs that you have taken on of yourself. when we were growing up, we're told things like, mistakes were something that were not allowed, and things like that. You may have even grown up with your goals and your vision. You had done your timelines. You've told yourself by 20 I'm going to be done with school. Then Asu now decided to show us pepper. Okay, fine, we start. Then you now said by 25 I'll be married with 2 kids. Yes, I love early marriage. If I had my way, I'd have gotten married early, but it didn't happen. So am I going to sit down and cry? Am I going to mourn and let the season of my life pass by just because my life didn't pan out the way I planned it? There's a myth that tells you a time has passed. There's no time that has passed. It may be harder, but it's not impossible. Obviously, if you can't compare yourself studying with a 16-year-old girl who doesn't have kids and who doesn't have any responsibilities. She's focused on her studies, hopefully. But it doesn't also negate your own experience. It doesn't negate your own experience. It doesn't make your experience not appreciable. Your own experience is unique to you, and you will do within the experience that you have. You can create something out of your life. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. So let's be careful about that myth. The myth of too late. The myth of too late. I told you about a story when I went for my John Maxwell certification, and a 90-year-old woman was getting certified to be a life coach for the first time. 90-year-old, you may be asking why. It might be a long lost dream or long life dream. She never got the opportunity. She came with her daughter. So when her daughter was going through John Maxwell teaching, she was going through it, and she said to herself, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to get certified with my daughter. So she stood there. 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, we heard that mama passed on, but she lived fulfilled. She wasn't sitting down there and saying, let time just pass. Let things just pass. Oh, I'm going to die soon. What's the point paying all? It's expensive. What's the point paying all this money just because my time has passed? No, she's still invested in herself. So you have no business sitting down there. I don't think there's anybody on this call that is 99 or 91 or 90 or 70. I don't think so. So there's no too late in your dictionary. Remove it from that dictionary. It's not too late. What was that dream? My goal as your discovery coach is to help women realize that they can live that dream. They can live that dream. Let's help you peel back the things that make you hide yourself. You may not even know where the funding will come from. But first of all, it's not the funding, it's the desire. The desire. The fact that you still believe in yourself, the fact that you can still rise, the fact that your next Google search is not about what kind of bag to buy, but about how can I achieve my dream? The next time you're talking to someone, you're talking to them about, you see, the universe picks on these things. You're not going to get anything outside what it is that you're pursuing. It's not possible. You draw it to yourself. You see, your desires are strong enough, but what's your permanent thoughts? I mean, those evasive thoughts that are in your head. What are the evasive thoughts? Those are the thoughts that you need to deal with. What's your subconscious? There's something. You see, look at your life right now and ask yourself all the things that you have attracted. Let's think about it. Because it's an attraction. It's a law of attraction. What are you pursuing? What are you constantly thinking of? Are you constantly thinking of failure? Are you constantly thinking of, things happening, going wrong? Are you constantly thinking that you're not good enough? You see, those things are energies, they're spirits, they're auras. They're creating life for you that you don't want. You don't understand why you are always swimming against the tide, but there's something that makes you swim against the tide. There's a subconscious that makes you stay stuck there. So every time you're afraid, every time you don't want to rise, every time you want to stay invisible, challenge those thoughts. Challenge them. Challenge those thoughts. Tell yourself that it is possible to live the life that you dreamed of. A lot of women start late. A lot of women start after having kids. A lot of women say, oh, okay, I can still do it with my kids, but it's fine. We don't all have the same timelines. We don't all have the same story. Your own experience will help another woman who is going through what you're doing. So we don't all have the same timeline. the same experiences. So harness that power that you have within you, instead of feeding into the subconscious and feeding it negative things. Start to tell yourself, surround yourself with women who have achieved, who are still achieving, who are, breaking glass ceilings. Read possibility stories from the Bible, from life. Read the stories that tell you that show you what possibility means. Read it, take it in, tell yourself, me, they will soon read my own story. They will soon read my own story. So let's just go on. That was just like, that story that my brother sent to me was absolutely mind-boggling for me. I learned a lot. I was just taking my lessons from it, that you may not even, your partner may not even see. Some of you, maybe watch why you, let me just say this because it came to me strongly. Some of you, the reason you have not been able to stand up to do anything or to live the life that you want, let me not say stand up to do anything, is to live, because have never even vocalized what you really want. So your husband keeps telling you about his own vision, about how he wants to, become the CEO of this company, or how wants to do, and yet you've never really, nobody knows in clear times that those people who are close to you, those who are closest to you, nobody knows in clear terms what you really want. Nobody can define what you want. They don't know because you've never spoken. Do you know what you want? Have you written down what you want? Have you visualized what you want? Have you visualized the desire, that the kind of life that you want to live? Have you visualized it? And when you visualize it, when somebody wakes you up from sleep, tells you, what is it, Debbie, what is it that you want out of life? Are you able to vocalize it so coherently that it feels like you are already living it, even though it's still a dream? Can you tell that person that you are with, that is called maybe your husband, your partner, can you tell him? Can he feel it? Is it viable? Can he feel your desire? If the person closest to you cannot feel your desire, then I don't know. Maybe that's why, you have not really stood up to pursue and chase those dreams. Maybe that's why. I know women who know what they want. I know women who tell me, I sit down with them and they say, oh, by 50, I want to do this. By 30, I want to do this. And you see them taking the steps towards it. But visualizing it, vocalizing it, it helps. So when your husband sees you now going, you said, for instance, okay, you've told him, oh, I really desire that I'm going to be the best caterer in the whole of Lagos or in the whole of London. And then he sees you going to take a course that has nothing to do with catering, or sees you going to do a thing. He can help you. Say, no, now, babe, is this really what you want to do? Who is helping you? Who is directing you? Who is giving you guidance, for your dreams? Who can you share your dreams with, that can say, okay, this course, so if you do it, it will push you further to, becoming the best of what you have decided to do. But nobody knows what you desire. In fact, that's the reason also that anybody will, I wanted to come out from being a stay-at-home mom, because I personally signed up for 7 years to take care of the kids. It was my personal decision. But when I came out of it, everybody wants to advise you, go and do business development analyst, go and do IT. IT pays a lot of money. Go and do this, go and do that. And then you start to hear a lot of voices. See, when you don't know what you want, you will follow all the voices. So you'll be doing random courses that bring injury to your soul. You don't have any love for IT. You don't have any love for, so you start to work for money. You start to work for things that are giving you money, not things that are you're not finding fulfillment. I know having money is a nice thing to do. See, don't get me wrong, having money is good. But is your life just because everybody is doing something, or is just perchance? This is where I landed myself. Or did you curate what you really wanted? Let's go on. So we're going to see now how, we're going to see life as seasons. We talked about that woman. I'm going to use that woman's story a lot because I really love it. I learned a lot from it. She had this season where her kids were small. They needed their mom. They couldn't have a mom and a dad who would be traveling and, being away. So she was the home front. She was the steady one. That's a season of life. Some seasons are for planting, and that's what she did. Some seasons are for planting, some are for pruning, and then some are for harvest. It's the problem we usually have is that when we compare our season to someone else's. So you see that 51-year-old woman, for instance, let's say for all that time she was at home with the kids, she had a classmate who graduated with her and had become the CEO of a company, and just kept going and kept going. That tendency of what have I done with my life for 26 years I've been married to this man, what have I done with my life? That tendency can come up. But there's a beauty about seeing your life in seasons. That woman that is being the CEO might now be looking for how to, sit down with her kids because she had lived all her life outside, and it may not be. So we don't even know what's happening in another person's life. We can only project. We can only make deductions. But now she's now the CEO of her own retreat company. So at the end of the day, the CEO at 51 is CEO at 51, right? Even though this one has a lot of experience, that one doesn't. But life is a leveler. So when you understand your seasons, when you understand that, okay, my children need me, and you see those children needing you, you being there for those children is rock solid foundation. That's purpose there. That's destiny. That's just the best thing you can do for the kids. That's the best thing. That's the best thing. So she hasn't done anything wrong. She's still old enough. She's still young enough, sorry, to live the dreams that she wants, to become the CEO of her own company. Right. So understand your seasons. Understand that life has seasons. Some are for planting, some are for pruning, some are for harvest. She's now going to enjoy, being away from her home without feeling guilty because she's not leaving small kids. She's going to travel because her next retreat was going to hold in Paris, and she lives in America. She's not going to travel to Paris now and say, oh my God, I left 6 small children at home or 4 small children at home. No. She's reaping the harvest. The kids are grown, the kids are okay, they're settled, they're stable. They don't need her. They're independent adults. So she can travel. And if her husband decides, okay, I really don't want to come with you because I've traveled all my life, fine, all well and good. She gave him her garage there. But they still had a system where they were together, even though she was pursuing her own dream. So you look at yourself. You might, in your 20s, you may wanted to be have focused on, being raising babies, and that's fine. And then in your 30s, you may have decided, okay, I want to keep a family, I want to have a career. That's fine. Now in your 40s or 50s, you may be thinking that you are too late to the race. It's not true. It's not true. Life happens. As much as I love being married early, much as would have loved to get married early, but life happens. And we can't just sit down there and question the things that happen. We take the things that happen to our own advantage. You don't sit down there and say, oh, because it didn't happen the way I wanted to happen, then I sit down here and I die. No. Hey, mama, we'll get up, we keep living. We turn every situation to our advantage. We turn every story to our advantage. We turn every story, to something that we can use to help another person. No story is wasted, good or bad, I dare say. You're not too late. You are right on time for this season. If you're in your midlife, for instance, it's not a decline. People talk about midlife crisis. People talk about, what people do in their midlife. But midlife can also be a time for you to pick up your speed and tell yourself, I don't have time again. You prune off everything that doesn't matter, and you run your race with fierceness. It's not the time for you to be at every party. It's not the time for you if you're not satisfied with what life has given to you. It's a time for you to recalibrate, and that's how I see it. It's a time for recalibration. It's not something that you say you're going to throw away all your sensibilities just because you haven't gotten the life you want. It's a time to redesign. If what you were doing in the last 40 years was not serving you, this is the time for you to redesign what you want for the next 20 years. There's no sanity in doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different life come. Your midlife should be something that gives you a marker as to where your life is going to. If you don't like it, you change it. As my former boss used to say, if you don't like the smoke in the kitchen, get out of the kitchen. Don't be in the kitchen. You're in the kitchen and complain about smoke. No, you change it. You change the story. What can you do to change your story is the questions you should be asking, not how I don't like where I am. It's too late. Oh, I'm not enough. Oh, this. What can I do to change those stories? If my mindset has been belittling me for the past few years, what can I do to change that mindset? What do I need to invest in myself to get myself out of this rat race and rot? You need to be able to ask yourself hardcore questions. It's not decline. It's a time for wisdom. It's a time for resilience. It's a time for perspective all coming together. So if you've lived thus far and you don't like the outcome of your life, it's a time to just say, you know what? I've been doing this thing this way. It's giving me this result. I don't like the results it's giving to me. What can I do differently? Intelligent questions, questions that probe the heart. And it's not just a one-off. I've been living this way. I've been steadily gaining 10 pounds every year. What can I do differently? See, when you look at your life in perspective, not just as a circumstance, as in one situation, when you look at your life in perspective, why am I still this broke? Why am I still this fat? Why am I still sorry? I know that's the politically incorrect word, but forgive me. Why am I still this flabby? Why am I still this way? Why am I still that way? It's not a time. Remember, we say that these things are data. Take this data, give yourself, sit down. If you can't do it yourself, it's a lot of times it's hard. It's hard to just sit down and start to dissect these things. Join us in our becoming program. We still have one more day where we can take on people, but join us. Talk to a coach. You would keep your life will stay one place until you until you do a deliberate intentional recalibration. Because if you don't like what you are living now, there's only one indication: you have been sowing seeds that are giving. This is the result of the seeds that you're sowing. Everything that you're seeing right now in your life is the result of seeds sown hitherto. So if you don't like it now, it won't change just because you don't like it. The taste of agbalumo will not change just because everybody says it's sour. It will remain agbalumo. Go and pick another fruit. Go and pick an apple or a banana if you don't like the taste of agbalumo. Let's go on. A woman who thought she was too old to study finished her degree at 52. We've given those examples. Another one who wants to dance. So look at me. I haven't put myself in the example, but this is me projecting. She joined the class at 16. In fact, when I was in French school, I was in French school for a long time. I really wanted to learn French. And there was this elderly man who had grandkids in French school with us. Baba would just come. Very nice, kind guy. He would just sit down. He used to ask a lot of questions. Baba would just sit down there. He said he just wants to learn French. It's not as if he doesn't have anything to do with his time, but learning the language also helps you to, slow down the aging process of your brain. So when I used to see all these people then, I'm like, oh, wow. But now I understand, though. If it takes you sitting down in a class with young people, go and sit down in a class with young people. There's nothing like too late. They can't even laugh at you. You see all the stories I'm telling, they're stories from my 20 years ago, but I still remember them. I still remember those people because they actually had an impact on me. That learning doesn't end. So if it's a dance class, whatever you want to do, go and learn it. Don't sit down there and you're not liking how your life is, but you're not doing anything to change it. Unfortunately, it will not get any better just by not liking it. I want even me building YDC in my 40s, right? Taking a chance on myself, living the life of my dreams. These are stories. You can rediscover yourself. You can do whatever you want. We've talked about the gym grandma, sorry. And we've talked about, so many other stories that I'm sure you know better than me. So now I want you to think about this as we, come to an end, because we're going to close very soon. I want you to think about this. What dream, vision, or part of you have you secretly labeled too late? Secretly, like maybe when you were, just remember yourself when you were 5 years old, when you were young, the kind of things you said, you thought the kind of way you thought your life will pan out, the kind of things that when people never told you that, when people hadn't told you that, be realistic. What were the unrealistic expectations you had about your life? What were they? Before people told you, shush, before the world told you shush? What were those dreams? What are those things that you have that you have put in a cupboard and say, acting is not for me. Oh. But you see, Mount Zion is making waves. We don't even have as many, if you're a Christian, you don't have as many Christian actors like that. So why not you? Why not you? You come and you act, we watch your film, watch your movie. It's not impossible. I believe there's someone listening to me here is acting. It's not impossible. You do it. You see, you're not. Don't bury yourself. Don't bury yourself. Don't bury yourself. Don't let your children think, oh, if we're not here, our mommy would have been a lot better. Don't bury yourself. It's the weight of carrying these things into the next generation that worries me a lot. That's why a lot of girls will go out. They don't feel secure, and not because you did anything wrong, but because if just even the way you lived, they've never really felt secure in your love. So this is the time. This is the time. If we're going to break generational curses, if we're going to break generational trauma, this is the time. It starts with you. It starts with you. So I want you to, think about things that you've put off. Just this classes. This life is just, a call for reflection. Just think about it. What are the things you've put off? Have you thought about, are you thinking that it's too late to heal from your childhood? Are you thinking that it's too late to start your own business? Are you thinking that it's too late to feel beautiful again? For some of you, you may need to even change, the way you dress. The way you dress shows, I don't even care. What's the big deal? Just where you dress, where you carry yourself. I'm not saying go and become expensive, no. But even the way you dress just reflects doom. Like I can't be bothered. Just tie scarf. Put it there. Oh, consign me, Jerry. I beg. I beg. Sometimes the way you dress also elevates your spirit, elevates your soul, elevates your aura. So go and take a look at that wardrobe again and tell yourself it's not too late for vibrant colors. In fact, maybe one of these days we make all of us to dress up for a Friday life. We all dress up, we wear fascinator, just to feel, that power again. Just to feel it. It's too late to rebuild my marriage. No, so many things are never too late. It just starts with one step. Desire it and start with one step. I want to affirm you this afternoon that you're listening to me. You see, I'm squarely on the table for dressing. You're not the only one, babe. You're not the only one. It's subtle. It's subtle because, I say it's subtle because how you feel also determines, a lot of things, that's whole dreary, how we dress in winter, especially for us who are in the UK. Everywhere is so dreary, dark, and sober, and you're cold. You don't even be bothered. Why? Just carry black and black. In fact, I've noticed a lot of people wear black and black here, and I'm like, are you guys mourning for real? You guys don't do colors. But yes, it takes a lot of intentionality to tell yourself that you're not going to allow your feelings, you're not going to allow the weather, you're not going to allow your environment to dampen your spirit, because your spirit needs to be alive, and it shows in the things you do, in the way you do it, every single thing it shows. So I just want to affirm you listening to me this afternoon that you are not alone. No, it's not as if I'm the person talking to you on this side, it's just has gotten it all together. But we are on this journey together. I see you. You are not alone. I see you. You are not alone. The myth lives in many of us, but it doesn't have to define us. It doesn't have to define us. Who said I can't dance? Who said, who says I can't dance? Who says I can't learn? It lives inside of us, but it won't define us. So I can see you, I can see you. But that myth, we need to dispel it. I want you to be able to, say, after listening to this live, I came to a conclusion and I started something that I was always afraid to start. I started something that I was always afraid to do. I spoke up. I told my partner my own dreams. He's not the only one that has dreams now. Come on. Not the only one. I told my partner my own dreams. I wrote down my dreams and I started to take steps towards it. So I want us to do this, breaking myth. Instead of saying or asking, why didn't I do this earlier? So I'll tell you a bit of my own story. I'm sure I've said it so many times, but I'll just say it again. When I was 20, 26, 27, I really wanted to get married. I wanted to get married at 25. Seriously. It's something that, because my siblings got married really early. I like the whole thing about cousins growing up together. And then I also like the fact that I had projected for them, by 40, this one would have been in secondary school, then you can leave. I loved it. But my fiancé died and life happened, right? And I got married at 36. So instead of me to have sat down there and said, why didn't I do this earlier? Why didn't I do this? Why is now the perfect time? So I started reframing my own story like, God knew that, I wasn't ready then. I'm not saying that that's why he took him away, but I didn't get married on 36, and maybe because I was more ready at 36. So I started to, it's a perspective change, Why didn't I do this earlier? Say, ask yourself, why is now the perfect time for me to do this? Why is now the perfect time for me to do this? Don't ask, I should have, leave the should have, would have, been have, have, leave it behind. You see, the problem with, pining for the old is that you don't have space for the new. Whenever you pine for the old, the children of Israel, they said, take us back to Egypt. We want this, we want that, we want cucumbers, we want da. We want to have all the fine things that Egypt gave us. But God said there was a promised land. He said, no, they screamed, they shouted. Have you noticed that thing really riled God up? He was really upset. When he wants to give you something new and you said, I should have. Why didn't I do it earlier? Why didn't I become this earlier? Why didn't I do that earlier? I got married at 34. Beautiful. Why didn't I? The truth of the matter is that you don't even know whether that thing that you wanted to enter earlier would have killed you. You don't know. So when people say things like, it wouldn't have happened that way, I said, you're not God. You don't have the omnipotent knowledge of God, or omniscience knowledge of God. Omniscience, you don't know. What can I do with what is happening to me now is a better question to ask. It's a better question. Yes, leave should have alone. Stop pining for the old. No matter how beautiful or how significant the old was, don't pine for the old. It doesn't help you. When you pine for the old, you don't create space for the new. It takes up space. It takes up what you can be. You see, what you can be is what is ahead of you. What has gone, you have no agency over it. You have no power over what has gone. You don't. It's your decisions today and your habits today that will help you with tomorrow. So let's leave should have alone. Leverage. Your past is not wasted. You see how I'm telling you stories now? When YDC blow now and I become big, people say, she started when she was 42 or 43. But the truth about the matter is that my story is a leverage for someone else. It might not be everybody's leverage, It's not, we're not called to everyone. We're not called to everyone. Our story is not for everybody. But there's somebody you're going to encourage with your story. There's somebody you're going to encourage with your growth. Yes, somebody that you're going to encourage. Don't pine for the old, not oil. Sorry. There's somebody you're going to encourage with your story. There's someone you're going to encourage with your life. Your story is your leverage. Your past is not wasted. Every lesson, every scar, every survival moment is wisdom your younger self that didn't have. There's some things that you would never be able to give because you haven't gone through it. And that's life. And there's somebody that needs what you have gone through. I know you say it's not enough for you to have gone through it, but you've gone through it. Let's harness it. Why me should never be your own story. Not why me. Not why me. What can I do with the why me? What can I do with what is happening to me right now? What can I do with what has happened to me? How can I churn it out and curate a life that can help me, help the future generation, and help other women? You can do these things. You can live this experience. Your story can be bottled in different forms and sold to give other women hope. So don't look at yourself and say, no, why me? Why not? Why this? Why that? It doesn't work that way. If you do that, you're shutting down what it takes to have to create solutions. If you do that, you shut down what it takes to create space for rational thinking. So I'm going to use this to round off. You don't need a 10-year plan. You need one step today. A woman, we've given the examples already, but I'll just go through them again. The woman who wanted to travel, start her own agency at 51. She went. Maybe she didn't even have a passport. First thing, she got a passport. A woman who wants to travel at 55 can't get a passport. Go and do what you need to do. A woman who dreamed of writing a book, started by journaling 10 minutes a day. It's not like you want to write a book, then you are looking for a 10-year plan. Just tell yourself on your calendar. I have my weekly calendar here. On your calendar, just tell yourself, what do I do every day at 9:20? Okay, I'm going to journal. That's it. But you have to start. Micro starts. When they say break down the task, micro starts. What can you do to start? What's the one smallest minimum viable that you can use to start? A stay-at-home mom who thought it was too late to have a career began by taking one online course. I've had a lot of stay-at-home moms around me who went back into nursing. If I was one of them, she was so riled up. She was like, "Oh, well, it's her choice, it's her emotion." She's like, I was talking to one of the young nurses, and she was talking to me now. Does she know how old I am? I said, well, when you want to go and learn again, do you know how old I am? You remove it from your shoulder, because nobody's looking at your age, especially if you're in the UK. Nobody's looking at your age. She was so upset. She just stopped talking to the girl. I said, sorry. It's just story, by the way. But I just remembered, that story. If you start again, if you have to. So if it wasn't too late, what would you give yourself? I want you to answer these questions for yourself. If it wasn't too late, what would you give yourself permission to start today? If it wasn't too late. If it wasn't too late. Ayo, thank you. Your flourishing will definitely shine forth. Ayo, I know it. And everybody listening to me. Yeah. If it wasn't too late, what would you give yourself permission to start today? Is it selling chin-chin? Is it making donuts and puff? Sorry, I won't buy share because I'm trying to keep, but I will buy for parties and things like that. Just start. Seriously, just start. By the way, I was just like more, but just start. Is it selling chin-chin? Buy a sealer. You know how to fight. Whenever people come to your house, your husband's friends, they come to your house, they say, you people, your wife makes the best chin-chin. You can package it and it becomes your product. Whatever it is, everything can become a product. What is one micro step you can take this week towards that dream? Write that down for yourself. The myth of too late keeps women trapped in regret, but rediscovery is about reclaiming possibility. First of all, rediscovery is about reclaiming possibility. What's that thing that you have shut out as impossible? Reclaim that with possibility. Possibility. Just see the possibility. Start to curate possibility stories in your mind, instead of saying, mama and dad could fail though. She started driving school, she could not even finish driving school. She started this. Instead of curating stories that, Yakumbi did this, or somebody did that, or somebody did that. The people that failed are more than the people that rose. Just don't do that. Go and gather your own, possibility arsenal. Have a place where you write your possibility stories that, push you forward. Have that arsenal so that when you are feeling doubt, you say, there was this Debbie somewhere that's from nowhere. She started to do this, she started to do that, she started to do that. Okay, I can see, from her story, this thing is possible. Just have a possibility arsenal. You don't have to go back. You don't have to start from zero. You get to build forward from who you are today. Remember that you are not behind. You are not too late. I will shout it. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not finished. As far as you're on this earth and you have breath in your nostrils, your story is not finished. Your story is not ended. Don't end it before the maker ends it. Don't live a life of regret. The life unlived, a life unlived is greater. It gives you there's this thing about being living an unlived life. It's the regret, the heaviness is, the regret is heavy. See, I can't even speak the English. The heaviness becomes so heavy. Don't look back and say, I wish I had. Do it while you have the time and the breath to do it. You are right on time. So I'm going to close with this one last call again. At Discovery, as your discovery coach, we are rooted, we everything we do is rooted in this truth. You know that discovery is possible, rediscovery is possible. It's never too late to rediscover who you are and what you're here to do. So I'm going to do one more invitation to our 90-day program to Power and Purpose. It's designed for women who want to silence the myth of too late and step into confidence, vision, and a life that honors them. I want you to, take an opportunity of this offer. A 30% discount for my birthday still is on. I want you to take an opportunity of this offer. It will be, the link will be on our bio. And yes, I would end it here. Remember that we need to start living. It's not something that is negotiable. If not, heavy regret is so heavy. You don't want to live a life of regret. It's not something you ever want to do. So I'm here rooting for you. It's not too late for you. It's not too late for me. It's not too late. You're right on time. And remember that, hey, mamas, let's start living. Thank you and see you next week, Friday.